Don't buy a car from a private party without doing these three things. Now, as a lawyer, I get a lot of folks asking me for help because they bought a car from Facebook Marketplace, offer up something like this, and they're like, hey, you know what? This car's got really bad leaks, the transmission's slipping, it won't pass smog, the check engine light's on. There are all these problems, and everyone thinks, I'll just hire a lawyer, get it all sorted out. Well, it's really not that easy unless you're really, really rich. If you've got a problem with a car you bought from a private party, it probably did not come with a written warranty. You probably gave the money and the person gave you the car, and that was that. If it was a fairly newer car, maybe it had a factory warranty on it, and then there's a question of does the factory warranty transfer to the private party? Maybe, maybe not. So lots of folks get in this situation where they bought a car, there's problems with it, and they want it fixed, and they think the seller is to blame. And yeah, maybe the seller is to blame, but then the question is, do they have to pay? Does the seller give any sort of a warranty? And that's a very interesting question. So if there's nothing in writing, do you have a warranty? Well, maybe not. Things may vary from state to state, but how would you enforce it anyway? Well, if you call a lawyer and you call like a personal injury type lawyer, well, they work on a contingency fee. So let's say your car needs a new transmission rebuild and it's $4,000. Well, a lawyer working on a contingency fee means they get a percentage of the winnings. So even if you found somebody that's willing to do that and your winning would be $4,000, they take maybe a third of it, which is not a lot of money for personal injury lawyers. So they're probably going to say no because first of all, they'd have to win, which is going to be hard without a warranty. And second of all, the amount they win is very little. So then what do you do? Well, you can call another kind of lawyer that works on, contracts and things like that. And they'll say, sure, we'll do this. And it's, $250, $350, $550 an hour. Well, if you've got the money to do that, that's great. The problem could be, let's say the issue to be fixed is $5,000 and it takes the lawyer a few days working 20, 30, 40 hours to fix it. Well, it may cost you more to pay the lawyer than you're actually going to make when you win. So what should you do? Well, here's number one of the three tips. The first thing is when you look in a car, you turn on the key, you see all the lights turn on, including the check engine light, then you start the car, the check engine light should go off. So does that mean everything is good with the motor? Well, it might, or it might not. See, if you're an unscrupulous seller, you can just, put in a new battery or disconnect the battery for a while. What that's going to do is it's going to discharge the computer. And if your car had stored codes in it, it may very well delete all of the codes. So then when you turn on the car and start it, the check engine light is not on because why? Because nothing's wrong? No, because the engine needs to go through all of its test cycles and check everything before it's going to turn on the check engine light on. So you might be able to drive the car for a few days, a week, something like that, with no check engine light. Then it turns on. You say, hey, seller, the check engine light turns on. The seller says, what? Well, it wasn't on before. It's your car now. Too bad, so sad. So what do you do? Well, if you can, the best thing to always do if you're not real savvy with cars is take it over to some shop and have them do a pre-purchase inspection. They can hook it up to their machines and see if there are any codes and also see if the systems are all, if they have readiness, which just means that the car has to go through a bunch of cycles before it's going to trip a check engine light. And you can tell with the scan tool if it's gone through those cycles or if it has not gone through the cycles. So if you've got a friend with a good scan tool or you've got one yourself, definitely check to make sure that the car has gone through all of its readiness cycles. And when it's gone through all the cycles and there's no check engine light on, then hey, you're going to pass smog if they do that where you live. And there may not be anything significantly wrong with the engine as far as the computer knows. Of course, still listen for funny sounds, look for smoke, and all of those things. So one more thing about getting a pre-inspection, if you go to a shop somewhere, they're probably going to do a good job if you go to a reputable shop, and they're going to also point out things that need service. And you may get kind of a laundry list. And if you decide to buy the car anyway, you can say to the seller, look, these are all the things that need to get done. And you can use that as a negotiating tool to maybe try to get a better price on it. And whether or not you buy the car, at least you know what you're going to be in for if you do buy the car. So the second thing to look out for is your Carfax. Now, if you're going to be dropping thousands and thousands of dollars on a car, many people are not going to have a hard time paying whatever it is, 45 bucks or however much Carfax costs when somebody's watching this. And it'll give you a bit of the history of the ownership, not who, but places. It'll tell you some of the service and it'll tell you if it's been in accidents. But know that this is not gospel. The Carfax report only has what's been reported to it. So if somebody gets in an accident, they don't report it to insurance, and they go and fix it out of pocket, then it's not going to be on Carfax probably, and you're not going to know that the car had been previously hurt. And so why is this important? Well, if you've got two cars, one car's been in an accident and one car hasn't been, which one would you want? You'd want the one that hasn't been in an accident, and that car's probably worth more money than one that has been in an accident. So even if your Carfax is clean, still look at the car, make sure that the paint matches on all the panels, look at the gaps, see if they look pretty good and even, look for overspray, things like that, just so you know that the car's probably not been in an accident. What else should you do? Number 3, do an internet search. Look at the make and model year of the car that you're looking for. Because even if you've got a beautiful car, it looks good, Carfax is good, maintenance is good, some cars just kind of suck. There's a bunch of different cars, a bunch of different years. No manufacturer is always horrible. Okay, most manufacturers are not always horrible, but not all manufacturers are always perfect. For example, if you see a clean 2014 Kia Soul, it might look great, it might run great, but if you look up an internet search, you're going to see a whole lot of these have engine failures around 100,000 miles or so. So if you've got a higher mileage example, or you think you're going to keep it for a long time, you might look for a different make and model, year, something that's going to last you a little better. Multiple Nissan vehicles are known for their failing CVT transmissions, and that's an extremely expensive fix. So spend a little bit of time on the internet, check out your make and model just to make sure that there's no major problems with it before you go look at it, and then get it inspected, do it yourself, and hopefully you don't need to call a lawyer afterwards.